On November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a man in a dark suit with a black briefcase approached the airline counter. He bought a one-way ticket to Seattle, Washington, under the name Dan Cooper. This ordinary guy in his 40s was about to become the center of one of America's biggest unsolved mysteries. He boarded Flight 305, a Boeing 727, and took his seat in the rear of the plane, 18C. He lit a cigarette and ordered a bourbon and soda. The flight was short, only about 30 minutes, and everything seemed perfectly normal. Cooper passed a note to flight attendant Florence shortly after takeoff. Thinking it was just another passenger's phone number, she initially slipped it into her pocket. Cooper leaned closer and said, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence read the note. It was written in neat all-caps lettering with a felt-tip pen. It confirmed his claim. He had a bomb in his briefcase. He instructed her to sit next to him. She did, and he calmly opened the briefcase, just enough for her to see a glimpse of red sticks, a battery, and a tangle of wires. It looked super real. Cooper laid out his demands. He wanted $200,000 in unmarked 20s and 4 parachutes, 2 main ones, and 2 reserve, and a fuel truck ready in Seattle to refuel the plane upon arrival. Florence took these demands to the cockpit. The pilot, William Scott, immediately contacted air traffic control, who in turn notified the local and federal authorities. The airline's president, Donald Nerup, authorized the payment of the ransom. Keeping the 36 passengers and 6 crew members safe is key. While the crew worked to assemble the ransom and parachutes on the ground, the passengers on the plane remained completely oblivious to the drama unfolding. They were simply told that their arrival in Seattle would be delayed due to a minor mechanical issue. For nearly 2 hours, the plane circled Puget Sound. Meanwhile, Cooper remained remarkably calm, even ordering a second bourbon and soda and paying his drink tab. He chatted with the flight attendants, who said he was super polite and well-spoken. Definitely not your typical nervous hijacker. At 5:39 p.m., the plane finally landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. The exchange was executed exactly as Cooper had planned. The ransom money and parachutes were brought aboard by an airline employee. In return, Cooper allowed all passengers and 2 of the flight attendants, including Florence Schaffner, to disembark. Only the pilots, a flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, remained on board with him. With the ransom secured, Cooper laid out the next phase of his plan. He instructed the pilots to fly towards Mexico City. He specified a very precise flight path, ordering them to fly under 10,000 feet, at a speed of no more than 150 knots, with the landing gear down and the wing flaps at 15 degrees. This was an unusually slow and low altitude for a jetliner, making it a very challenging flight. He insisted the 727's rear air stairs stayed down during takeoff. The pilots explained that flying to Mexico City under those conditions was impossible on a single tank of fuel, so a refueling stop in Reno, Nevada was agreed upon. Around 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off from Seattle, headed south. The cabin was kept unpressurized as per Cooper's instructions. 2 fighter jets were scrambled to follow the 727, but they had to keep their distance to avoid being seen by the hijacker. Sometime after 8 p.m., somewhere between Seattle and Reno, over a rugged, forested area of southwestern Washington, D.B. Cooper executed his daring escape. He instructed Tina Mucklow to go into the cockpit and stay there with the door closed. That was the last time anyone ever saw him. A warning light flashed in the cockpit, indicating that the aft air stairs had been deployed. The crew felt a change in air pressure. Cooper, with his $200,000, had jumped out of the back of a commercial airliner into the freezing, rainy night. When the plane landed safely in Reno around 10:15 p.m., law enforcement swarmed the aircraft. They found it empty, except for the crew. Cooper had left behind his black clip-on tie, a tie clip, and 2 of the 4 parachutes. The FBI kicked off a massive investigation called Noryok after the Northwest hijacking. The man the media dubbed D.B. Cooper, a name that came from a reporter's misunderstanding, had simply vanished. A huge search in the jump zone happened, but no one found anything. No Cooper, no parachute, no briefcase, and no money. It was as if he had been swallowed by the wilderness. For years, the case went cold. The FBI processed thousands of leads and investigated over 800 suspects, but none could be definitively linked to the crime. Cooper's identity remained a complete mystery. The only physical evidence left behind was the tie, which decades later yielded a partial DNA profile, although it hasn't led to a match yet. Then, in 1980, a surprising discovery was made. An 80-year-old named Brian dug in the sand at Tennebar on vacation. He unearthed 3 bundles of decaying cash. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to D.B. Cooper. A total of $5,800 was recovered. This find was huge, but it also deepened the mystery. The location was miles away from the projected flight path and jump zone. How did the money get there? Did it float down the river? Was it buried by Cooper himself? Or did it mean Cooper didn't survive the jump, and the money was scattered? The questions just kept piling up. Over the decades, countless theories have emerged. One popular theory is that Cooper was an experienced skydiver or a military paratrooper with knowledge of the local terrain. His choice of the 727 with air stairs shows serious planning and expertise. He totally knew what he was doing. He probably jumped, landed safe, and escaped with the cash. Another compelling theory suggests Cooper was not an expert at all, but rather a desperate amateur who got lucky. His choice of jumping into a freezing, storm-swept wilderness at night, wearing only a business suit, seems like a suicide mission. Experts later noted that his parachutes couldn't be properly guided, and one of them was actually a training chute that had been sewn shut, something he never knew. This theory argues that Cooper most likely perished in the jump, and his body and the rest of the money were simply lost to the vast, unforgiving wilderness. The money found at Tennebar could have been washed downstream from where he landed. Then, there are the specific suspects. One of the most famous is Richard McCoy Jr., a Vietnam veteran and skydiver who staged a nearly identical hijacking just a few months after Cooper. Also from a 727, it jumped with $500,000 and was later caught. While the similarities are striking, McCoy was later ruled out by the FBI due to physical mismatches and a confirmed alibi for the night of the Cooper hijacking. Another prominent suspect was a man named Dwayne Weber, who on his deathbed in 1995 confessed to his wife, "I'm Don Cooper." After his death, his wife recalled strange things he had said and done that seemed to line up with the case. However, a DNA comparison between Weber and the DNA from Cooper's tie came back negative. The list of suspects goes on and on, from disgruntled airline employees to career criminals. Each one seems plausible for a moment, but none have ever been definitively proven. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the D.B. Cooper case, concluding that its resources would be better used on other priorities. They acknowledged that they had exhausted all credible leads. But closing the case hasn't stopped the public fascination. It remains the only unsolved air piracy case in American history. So what really happened to D.B. Cooper? Did he pull off the perfect crime and live out his days in quiet anonymity? Or did he meet a grim end in the dark woods of Washington state? The man in the business suit has become a folk hero to some, an icon of rebellion against the system. His story is a testament to a time when a lone man could hold an entire airline hostage with just a briefcase and a bold plan. The mystery of D.B. Cooper endures, a puzzle with missing pieces that we may never find. But that's what makes it such a captivating story. It's a daring mix of boldness and mystery, leaving us with one lingering question. Did he really get away with it? What do you think? Let me know your favorite theory in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries, only here on Forgotten Clues.